Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is August 14th, 2025, and Barcelona have a very important deadline with UEFA coming up, and I'm going to tell you what it is. Also, Barcelona have signed a new striker. And finally, Pini Zahavi seen meeting with Hansi Flick and with Joan Laporta. I'm going to tell you what they were meeting about. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. We'll begin this video with the news that Barcelona have a looming deadline which is August 28th. By then, that deadline, Barcelona will have to tell UEFA which stadium they're going to be playing in. Now, as you know, Barcelona are working against the clock to return to the Spotify Camp Nou by the September 14th weekend against Valencia, which would be the fourth fixture of La Liga and the first home fixture of this upcoming season. Barcelona have yet to receive the permits that they need to reopen the stadium, and they need to notify UEFA by August 28th on which stadium they're going to be starting the Champions League in, because as you might recall from last season, whichever stadium you start in, that's the stadium you have to play in until the group stages are over. So if Barcelona don't start at the Camp Nou, let's say they start at the Olympic Stadium, they would have to do that entire group stages at the Olympic Stadium and then go back to the Camp Nou, and that wouldn't be until January or February. So Barcelona need to be sure that they are going to start the season at the Camp Nou by August 28th so they can let UEFA know that that will be our stadium in the European competition. Now, on to the next bit of news, because last night, Joan Laporta was seen having dinner with Pini Zahavi, the agent for Flick, Lewandowski, amongst other players, someone who's a close friend to Joan Laporta. And of course, this gave rise to many rumors on what they had met about. But don't worry, because we now know what the meeting was about. Number one, the number one topic was to discuss the situation of Robert Lewandowski. As you know, there's been a lot of interest from Saudi clubs in Robert Lewandowski. So Laporta wanted to sit down and see, like, hey, what's going on? Like, is this interest real? Is Lewandowski thinking about leaving, etc., etc.? And it's reported that during this dinner, Pini Zahavi assured Joan Laporta that Lewandowski is only thinking about one thing and one thing only, which is to stay at Barcelona and see through his contract. And in fact, Pini Zahavi had just confirmed this earlier yesterday in some statements that he made to the press, where he said the following. A year ago, he received concrete offer. Talking about Lewandowski, of course. They offered him more than 100 million per season. But he preferred to fight for La Liga and the Champions League, and he almost achieved both goals. And then talking about Barcelona, I said this is the place on earth where this is his place on earth where he feels most comfortable. So Pini Zahavi revealing that last summer Lewandowski was offered 100 million euros per season from Saudi Arabia, and he still said no. And of course, saying that Barcelona is the place where he feels comfortable, which means he is not looking to leave. 100 million euros per season is what Lewandowski said no to. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still making a lot of money at Barcelona. I think it's something like 16 million or 17 million gross, which is 9.5 net. Or 9 net, I should say. No, 8.5 net. Or 9. And to go from that to 100, I mean, that's insane. And to say no to that just goes to show Lewandowski's commitment towards Barcelona. Now, there was a second topic that was discussed in that dinner between Joan Laporta and Pini Zahavi. And it seems that it was a Brazilian player who we still don't know his identity. It looks like Pini Zahavi put a Brazilian player on the table, a player that he represents. We don't know the name, but all we know is that he plays in France and that he has a very high ceiling. And that was discussed between Joan Laporta and Pini Zahavi. But of course, as you know, right now Barcelona are not looking to sign anyone else. They still have to figure out how to register the players we already signed. So of course, they're not looking to add more to the problem. But who knows? Maybe in the winter, maybe next summer. And again, we don't know who it is. So we'll have to wait and see. Now, Pini Zahavi did not only meet with Joan Laporta today. Pini Zahavi was seen meeting with Hansi Flick for lunch during 90 minutes. We don't know what that meeting was about, but there's been speculation or rumors that it's most likely about the contract renewal, because as you know, Barcelona want to extend the contract of Flick, which expires next summer, in the summer of 2026. And of course, Flick did not want to talk about contract renewals last season. He wanted, to first finish the season. So this could have been in order to discuss his possible contract renewal. Again, we don't know what happened, but we do know that Flick and Pini Zahavi met today. The meeting with Laporta was last night. Anyways, speaking of signings, let's move on to the next bit of news, because Barcelona have signed a new striker, and his name is Paul Mancheno. Now, Paul Mancheno is a 16-year-old striker who hails from the Espanyol Academy. Barcelona have signed him for the Juvenil B, or the under-19 B team. He is a striker known for his physical strength, sharp movement into space, and he's described as a natural goal scorer with strong presence in the box. And in fact, it's reported that there were plenty of European clubs after Paul Mancheno, more specifically Real Madrid, who were very close to signing him, but Paul Mancheno chose FC Barcelona. And this is, of course, part of the club's efforts to sign young, promising strikers. As we know, La Masia has not been too known for producing, great number 9s. So the academy have stepped up their efforts in recognizing young strikers with lots of potential to bring them to the academy and train them, such as Oscar Gistao. Now, on to that next bit of news, because so far the future of Hector Ford is still uncertain and could change in the next few days. Now, as you know, Barcelona prefer that Hector Ford goes somewhere else, because they recognize that at his young age, he needs to be getting minutes. Otherwise, he risks plateauing, and they know that at Barcelona he's not going to be getting those minutes that he needs, given that Jules Koundé and Eric Garcia are ahead of him in the pecking order for the right back position, and as such, Barcelona would rather him leaving. And it's reported that there are plenty clubs interested in Hector Ford. The one being most interested is Mallorca, the club who already signed Pablo Torre and tried to sign Pau Victor. Looks like Mallorca have just said, hey, let's just copy whatever Barcelona does. But anyways, we appreciate the money that Mallorca have given us for Pablo Torre and potentially for Hector Ford. Now, it's reported that Hector Ford is still on the fence on whether to leave or not. His close circle are not ruling out staying. They think that maybe he could get more minutes because there aren't a lot of defenders. That's at least their version of the story. I mean, look, I understand Hector Ford wants to stay in Barcelona, but I just don't see him getting minutes. He needs to get minutes, so I think the best thing would be for him to go on loan, go get the minutes, grow, develop, and then come back and show that you can compete, because right now I just don't see it happening. Now, on to the last bit of news, because ladies and gentlemen, the situation between Real Madrid and Kante is heating up. As I reported in a previous video, Real Madrid have been interested or considering the signing of Konate. Liverpool are trying to extend his contract, but the player has not signed a contract extension yet. And well, now the new news is that Konate is actually open to joining Real Madrid. The question is whether it's going to be this summer or next. It can either be this summer if Liverpool allow him to leave this summer, and if not, he could join Real Madrid next summer as a free agent, because his contract expires next summer. Now, why is this relevant? Of course, this is relevant to Barcelona, because if Konate joins Real Madrid, whether it be this summer or next, it's reported that Liverpool want Ronald Araujo to replace him. Now, of course, the question will be, when would this happen? Konate leaves this summer or maybe next one. Now, this summer, I don't see Ronald Araujo honestly leaving. I think Ronald Araujo really wants to prove himself to Hansi Flick and earn his spot. Plus, it's starting to look from the preseason that it's going to be Pau Garcia and Ronald Araujo as the starting pair. So I don't see Araujo wanting to leave this summer. But if Konate joins Madrid next summer, who knows, maybe Araujo would be open to leave next summer. Again, we don't know. But this summer, I just don't see it as likely. But again, stranger things have happened. We didn't expect Inigo Martinez to leave, and he did. So we'll have to wait and see. But just know that Liverpool keeping their eye on Ronald Araujo in case Konate does end up leaving. All right, that is all the news for this video. I did upload another video a few moments ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, be scarce.